Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Uh, right. Hi. Hello, Fatima.
How are
Thank you
you?
for having me.
Of course, no problem. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. We're a little shell-shocked about COVID-19, but I guess we're adapting to it
Right,
and it's going well.
right. Where are you currently?
I'm currently in Abuja,
Okay.
so I'm recording this from home.
Okay. What's the situation right now in Abuja?
Oh, well, the lockdown has been eased. We've been doing a gradual ease of lockdown since the 4th of May.
Okay.
So basically, everywhere is relaxed, although not many people are wearing masks. But I think the initial scare has gone down, and everybody is starting to associate with each other again. I put it like that. We are still working from home, but there are plans to reopen very soon.
Okay, amazing, amazing. So you're joining us from the accountability lab, of course. Can you please tell us what you do there?
Okay. First off, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity. Civic Media Lab, Sahara Reporters, Accountability Lab, MacArthur Foundation. You guys are doing a great job. My name is Obina Ejiogu. I'm a communications assistant for Accountability Lab Nigeria. Accountability Lab is an NGO that supports accountability in governance. And I'm also a writer. I also dabble into conscious music. And I have a background in health sciences. I studied medical laboratory sciences, so I can relate to a lot of the confusion that people are feeling, having knowledge on the topic myself.
Okay, amazing, amazing. So let's get right to it. So some people are saying that COVID is somewhat of an elitist um, virus. It's basically just affecting the rich. What's your take on that?
Well, okay, first of all, I'll say scientifically that is not true
Okay.
because COVID affects everyone, can affect anyone. Why that view came up was because the elite started to get it first because many of them brought in the virus from abroad. Because when the surge started in the UK and in China, it's mostly people that were abroad, people that could travel
Right.
abroad. They were the first to get infected and they were the first to carry it into the country, and they affected others they associate with as well. So that's why the situation is like that. But it's affecting everyone, no matter your social class.
That's right. I agree. So in terms of testing, are people getting their test results?
Yes, their results are coming out, but from what I heard from the NCDC Director General, he said that the results are sent to the state epidemiologist. So it is the state epidemiologist's prerogative to send out results to the patient. So however they choose to do that is their prerogative. But people are getting tested, and I think over 70,000 people have been tested so far, and about 13,000 of them have turned out to be positive.
Okay, amazing, amazing. So another claim that people are making is that COVID is, of course, a scam because we've never seen pictures nor videos of patients who actually have the virus. Yeah, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I have been hearing a lot about this scamdemic,
Right.
they keep calling it. Okay, first of all, I want to say that there are people that are coming forward and giving their stories about surviving COVID-19. Um, I've seen some on some TV stations. I've seen on channels, TVCs, even online. I know Sahara Reporters too has been giving updates on that.
Exactly.
Some people have been coming forward. So the thing is, it's against medical ethics for the hospital or the health center treating you to release your information. It's you know, you could get stigmatized for having this virus, and is unethical to release anybody's information without their consent.
Right.
And there's also, yeah, and there's also the scare of people in isolation infecting others. You know, if journalists come into the isolation center, they could get infected as well.
Right.
So it's just not true, because it's just not true that they are hiding the information. It's just it's unethical to release it. If you go to the NCDC and the Ministry of Health, their Twitter handles, they do have some patients that come forward and tell their stories as well. And they are there for scrutiny. So anybody that wants to see them can see them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, in terms of the patients, if some people are asymptomatic, right? Why are they not allowed to stay at home instead of the isolation centers, which are obviously feeding on the government money? Why do you think that?
You said, why are they not allowed to stay at
At
home?
home.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Asymptomatic status is being heavily contested by the scientific community. That's what I'm going to start with saying. When this pandemic started, it was agreed upon by WHO, the NCDC, that asymptomatic carriers could spread this virus. But more information coming out is like the risk is less. The risk of spreading the virus by asymptomatic carriers is less.
Okay.
I know Singapore released a study where they said basically someone is most infectious 2 days before they start showing symptoms and 11 days after. So the NCDC has actually adjusted to this. Like they can discharge patients after 14 days.
Okay.
They just yeah.
Okay.
So but it's still not known for sure whether asymptomatic people can spread this or not. They are still testing that. But what we do know is symptomatic people can spread this virus for up to 11 days. So that is what that's the information for now.
Okay, amazing. Somebody said they allow markets to open and can't allow schools to open. Do you still believe that education is the key to success?
Definitely, education is the key to success. I think the fears are arising. People don't want their kids to be infected, first of all.
Right.
Secondly, there is a higher risk of spread, as in between kids, as in if kids go to school, they can spread it among themselves, they can spread it to their families as well. So that is why the government is kind of skeptical about opening schools. As for markets, I know that we all need food to live. In an ideal situation, in an ideal situation, there will be social distancing in the markets. But unfortunately, sometimes that's not the case here. But those are the parameters. That's why schools are closed right now. Markets are still open. So I know many markets, they are still under curfew. They have times they open and times they close. So the government has already arranged for all of that.
Okay. Okay, great. So what's your take on the isolation centers, the empty isolation centers, especially like in Kano, for instance? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I remember seeing one video on the empty isolation center in Kano.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there was a special assistant to the governor that released the information that they were refurbishing that center, and it wasn't in use as at the time. It hasn't been used yet. So I think where the confusion came in was there had already been a press release. There was already cameras there with the beds and everything. The governor came out, he basically launched the isolation center. But from the information I later gathered, it had not been in use at all.
Mm.
So he said something about they are learning from the Lagos center that the curtains could transmit the virus as well. So they changed the design of that center. That's the official statement.
Okay.
But I also want to say that government needs to be more accountable and transparent when handling these things. They have to say it as it is, because if they end up creating doubts in citizens' minds, the response is not going to be effective.
That's right.
So, yeah, they have to be as honest and transparent as well. If they had said this thing earlier, nobody would be raising up all these questions.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You actually just touch a little bit on my next question. In terms of the government's response about the whole pandemic, how would you rate it so far?
That is difficult. It's very difficult because I tend to be very critical.
Okay.
I'm not going to assign a number to that, but I would say that they haven't done so well in communicating with the citizens.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give a couple of examples. I think our last address from president was on the 4th of May.
Okay.
So yeah, and we've seen from other countries where the presidents, they come, they address the citizens, some on a daily basis. I know President Trump was addressing every day, even though he was receiving a lot of backlash. So when the citizens see that, okay, the president is not addressing us, they say, oh, maybe it's not as serious as it is. And there was a lot of conflicting information in the beginning from the health minister, from the minister of information. So I wouldn't really rate them high on this response, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement. They need to engage private organizations. There needs to be more engagement with citizens to clear up all these doubts. I remember even at the beginning, the NCDC was not releasing the number of tests they do a day. So people now saw this thing as, oh, they are just giving us numbers.
That's right.
And that impression has continued till now, even though they later started releasing the number of tests they do a day. In the beginning, the health minister told us he could handle this virus. Basically, we hadn't had a confirmed case then. I think that was in January. So now when you see like Lagos, they are saying you may have to treat yourself from home. So this conflicting information, it creates doubts in citizens' minds. And it goes back to the transparency I was talking about. There needs to be accountability on the part of government. And citizens as well also need to take up the responsibility.
Okay. In what way do you think citizens can take up that responsibility?
Yes, we know that this virus is spreading, and we know some ways we can prevent it. We know social distancing,
Right.
wearing of masks is not just a saying. There is proof from other countries that are using these measures. I know the Czech Republic, they have kept their death rate to a minimum with social distancing and use of masks.
Okay.
Some countries like Eritrea, they don't have cases anymore. New Zealand, they celebrated 2 days ago. They don't have any active case anymore.
Right.
So citizens have to see these things, and we have to tell ourselves the truth that the evidence is all around us anyway. We have to tell ourselves the truth of what is happening, and we also have to take responsibility. We have to follow in spreading the word, because government is all of us at the end of the day.
Right.
It's not just those that are in power.
Right.
So Yeah. So how this response, how this situation ends, depends heavily on how citizens react. So I want to urge Nigerian citizens to take up the responsibility today.
Okay, you guys heard him. So, somebody said COVID is old story. COVID is an old story, basically. That's what they mean. Do you agree with that
Oh,
statement? Why?
an old story, but the story is just starting.
Hmm.
That's it. I mean, saying it's an old story probably is trying to get it off his mind or her mind. That's yeah, because people are trying to adjust to
Right.
the thing. But in truth, not up to 5% of the world population has been affected.
Okay.
So it's something that could be very devastating as time goes on. Hopefully not. So, but saying it's an old story, that's very dangerous because people will start to lose their guard. I mean, yesterday we had the highest number of confirmed cases we've ever had since the start of this pandemic in Nigeria.
Oh,
We had
wow.
600, yeah, confirmed, and even the Abia State Governor, he has been confirmed having COVID-19. Bauchi Deputy Governor. So this thing is spreading. The earlier we take action, the better.
Okay, amazing. So, what impact has the accountability lab had so far in terms of this pandemic?
Great. We have focused most of our energies on communication and sensitization, creating awareness. I personally have helped in developing the CVAX bulletin. CVAX is a program that we have. So we're trying to get the word out. We also translate our bulletins to Pidgin so they can be easier understanding for those that don't know English that much. So basically, we're trying to spread the word that everybody needs to take action. We also run polls on what we feel that so that we can get how the citizens feel about the information as well being given to them by the government. So that's basically it. We've also been calling for accountability on the part of government so that they can help in ending this pandemic sooner because we feel that transparency would have helped in curbing this pandemic much earlier. If the information flow was consistent, if government came out and kept saying, okay, we know this, we don't know this, we're not sure of this, but
Right.
we know that it's a deadly pandemic. But creating doubts causes a problem.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much. I think somebody asked a question. Let me just put it up.
Yes, please.
How come no pastor saw this during the 2019 crossover? Things are
Oh
very
man,
funny. So
I'm
is
not a pastor, so I can't I can't answer that one.
somebody else said Nigeria cases seem to be questionable. I mean, you know. So what do you think is the solution?
Okay, when we say questionable, in what way?
I think in
Um,
terms of the numbers.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. I think why the NCDC has said repeatedly that they have issues with testing, as they don't have enough capacity for testing. So they test different numbers of people every day. Like today, they could test 50 people. Tomorrow, they could test 150. So the numbers are a little skewed. If you look at our own curve, it's not a curve at all. It looks very haphazard. So that's the reason for that. That's the reason for questionable cases. And again, if they had put out this information complicitly, it wouldn't have led to these problems. Although I know Director General is trying his best. I know even there was a time on Twitter he came and publicly asked for anybody that could help with testing kits. And during his, because I've been following this pandemic very closely,
Okay.
during many of his interviews and many of his webinars, he does say these things. He says that, yeah, we have problem with testing kits, and we're trying to improve testing. So that's where the problem comes from.
Okay.
So you are right to demand more transparency. Yes, it does seem questionable, but those are the reasons for it.
Okay, great. Do you have any message for people watching or even the government?
Yes. Okay, for people watching, I want to say thank you. And I also want to say, keep asking questions. It's very good. Like you need to learn more about this virus. Asymptomatic transmission of viruses is not a new thing. I know it seems, well, yeah, where a lot of the problem comes from is many Nigerians feel for a sickness. I mean, you're supposed to feel sick, and when you feel sick, you take a drug and
Right.
it goes away. But there are some sicknesses that don't operate like that, and it depends on your immune system. This is not the first sickness that transfers asymptomatically. We have HIV. Some people have HIV, they don't know. Some they don't have, but you can transfer it to somebody and it becomes a problem for them immediately. They begin to show all sorts of symptoms. We also have the herpes virus that acts like that. And I also want to say scientists are still learning about this virus. This is the NCDC, the WHO, they are still learning about this virus. So they will make mistakes in what they are saying. But the more we learn, the more we can take precaution. So it's best to just take the advice as it comes. Is what they are saying is none of it can harm you. It's for your own protection. And they too are taking such protection as well. And for the government needs to be more transparent with these things. I mean, the sharing of palliatives, many people have questions about that.
Right.
Response itself, everybody keeps asking questions, the numbers. We can't defeat this virus like this. We have to be accountable to the people. And it is possible to defeat this pandemic. Many countries are already doing it. So we don't have to be the only exception.
Okay, amazing. Thank you for that. I'll just answer this. Well, I'll just let you answer this last question. Is the rise in confirmed cases due to the infection spread or increase in the testing capacity?
I'm going to say it's both, because now what we've seen is not only Lagos that is having high number of cases. There are a number of states that are starting to see community spread. I think yesterday Bauchi had a lot of cases as well.
Okay.
Even cases in south, even states in the south, they are starting to see some community spread. We know Abia didn't have any cases at first, but now they're having cases by the day. And also the NCDC, they are ramping up testing every day. I know they were researching on developing their own kits some time back. I don't know how far they've gone with that.
Okay.
And there was a webinar where the Director General said he was planning on testing 2 million people in the next 3 months. I also don't know how feasible that is. So to answer that question, I think both testing has increased, is becoming more uniform, and also the spread is increasing. That's why I'm saying we need to take precaution.
That's right. That's right. I agree. Thank you so much for joining us, Obina.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm a avid follower of the show.
Okay, thank you. All right, be safe, okay?
Yeah, you too.
Bye.